Disclaimer, whatever I'm going to talk about today are my own views. They are not related with my current or my previous organization. Okay, so the topic, right? What are we going to talk about today? The psychology behind design. From my perspective, design isn't complete without psychology. Without understanding the human, you cannot solve their problem. It is as simple as that. You are solving a human problem, right? So you need to understand human to solve their problem. And how do you understand human is by understanding the psychology as a subject. Okay, I'm going to talk about a couple of things here today. I'll come to the agenda later. So this I always start with this so that the audience who are with me can get clarity or just open up their mind as to how big design is. Okay, so according to you, I'm looking at the chat now, and people who has already been in my webinars earlier will know this answer. Who do you think is the greatest designer ever? I'll just pause for 5 seconds and want to see your answers in the chat. Who do you think? Great. I'm getting answers. Yes, Da Vinci. Okay, the creator of Mona Lisa, Don Norman. Okay, good. Okay, some have given the answer which I was looking for. Fantastic. I love this answer called user. Oh, okay. God. Oh, wow, Walter. Me. Okay, cool. God. Yeah. Okay. So from my perspective, I believe the greatest designer ever, I'm a bit spiritual, so it's God himself. But if you're not spiritual, you can think about nature. Okay. I believe the God has created the entire earth or the entire environment in such a way that every human you ask, right? You go and ask every human, do you want to die? He will never say yes, because they are loving the features which the God has given them. They are loving the experience the God has created for them. And that's what we have to bring in our product. That whenever our user use our product, they will always say, no, I cannot get rid of this product. I will always use this product. Right? Look at how the God or nature has created us. Our eyes, nose, ears, everything is so perfectly done that we just loved it. We don't want to sacrifice this. We don't want to die. Okay? So become designer like this, who can define the entire experience so that your user will never want to get rid of your product. Okay. I hope this has opened up your mind. Okay, so what are we going to talk today? First, we'll try to understand what really is design, right? And then we'll talk about, there are a huge debate about UI versus UX versus UI, blah, blah things. There are a lot of confusion as well in newbies who are coming to design and trying to understand what UX design is. And they get into this debate and wasting their time. So I'll end this debate today. And then we'll talk about different design frameworks which is being used. And then we'll talk about the psychology behind design. Okay. And then 5, I'll talk about 10 crucial things about humans every designer should know. There are hundreds and hundreds things which every designer should know, but I will get started with just 2. I'll give you 10 of those so that you can have a foundational knowledge of that, and then you can build upon all those knowledge. Okay. So let's get started with what really is design. Okay. So what is design? I love Halbert's quote on this. He said, design is to devise courses of action aimed at changing existing situation into a preferred one. So what he's saying is, design is to devise the course of action. You need to do certain things so that whatever currently you are experiencing can be turned into the preferred experience. So he's just kept making everything together. He's just saying everything you do to make it a preferred one, you're designing. Okay, it's a great one. Next, Richard said design is conception and planning of artificial. He's differentiating everything which is nature built, it's naturally built, right? Everything which is being built by human or whatever been built today, like the house, the laptops, the mobiles, everything which has been built are artificial. So design is creating those artificial. That means whatever has been created artificially, design is that. And then Max Bill said, design participate in the making of new culture from spoon to city. So he's saying that design involves in making smallest spoon to a biggest town, a city as well. So design is vast, design is big. In this context, I also want to bring in Steve Jobs' quote, where he says that design is not just how it looks or feels. Design is also about how it works. So designer job is not to just put lipstick on pig. Okay, design is far bigger than that. Okay, let's move ahead. UK Design Council also have given this great quote. It said, "Great design is about finding practical, real-world solution to the biggest issue facing us today." Okay, and then they have also said this: design isn't just making things better; it's about making lives, community, and industries better. Cool. So let's end the debate of UI versus UX. There's huge debate online, in social media and everywhere, right? Let's just kill it. So first of all, they are not two different things. UI and UX are not separate, okay? And they are not equal even. They're not same, okay? This is how it is. So UX is the bigger picture. Under UX, we have visual design, which is also known as user interface design. We have information architecture, we have accessibilities, we have interaction design, we have usability, we have research. So all this, there are more than other, there are other elements as well. I've just jotted down the 6 here. Combining everything is called user experience. So you're defining the experience of your user using your product in every touch point. Wherever the customer is touching, you are making that experience better. That is user experience. And UI is one part, whereas your user is interacting with the system. Okay? So clear that up. It is not two different things. It is not similar as well. UI is subset of UX. Cool. Let's move on. Now, what is UX? People say, what exactly is UX? So my answer for UX is a process of defining or designing the interaction between the user and the computer. The computer is your website, or it can be your mobile, it can be any product you are making. Okay, so UX is the process of defining designing the interaction between your user and your product. Now, how is that process is defined? I said UX is a design process, right? What is that process? That process is the framework. By using frameworks such as human-centric design, user-centric design, double diamond, and design thinking, we will be able to solve the most difficult problems in the environment. Okay, from the smallest problem like changing the color of a button to biggest problem like poverty or global warming. Okay, so that process is what is framework. They are similar. Okay, there are a couple of frameworks which we have. The human-centric design, wherein human-centric design is an approach to problem solving commonly used in design that develops solution to problems by involving the human perspective in every steps of the problem solving process. So we are keeping human in the center of everything we do. Okay. Then again, we have another known as user-centric. Again, you can see user-centric design is an iterative process in which designer focus on the users and their needs in each phase of the design process. So at the center or at the core of these two framework is the humans, right? In both places, you can see the humans are at the center of the process. So every design framework has human at its core. Therefore, it is important to learn how human think and behave if we have to design for human. So this is very important to understand. It is saying, therefore, it is important to learn how human think and behave if we have to design for human. If you're designing for human, you have to understand human. And therefore, psychology comes in. Okay, the scientific study of the human mind, it is not just related to human, it is also animals. So the study of mind and behavior. Okay, so this is how psychology is building up. Now we'll come to the psychology behind design. So there is a world, there's the environment, okay, and there are humans inside this world, okay, and then humans have some problems or have some needs which they have to fulfill, or there's a problem which they need to solve, right? And then we have a solution for that problem. Okay, so we have the environment, the world, and then inside world we have humans, and then humans have problems, and then that problems have solutions. So design framework will help you solve or find a solution for the problems. Okay, so design framework is capable of doing it. But what about human and environment? How do you understand human and environment? Okay, we'll go ahead. So great designers create designs taking into account the environment and the human also. So great designers, like, you know, I'm a firm believer of Daitos Ram, and I'll show you in coming slides also why I believe in him. So great designers like him always think about the environment, the human factor, the problem, and then they devise a solution or they find a solution for that. Okay. As I said, I'm a big follower of Daitos Ram. These are his design. Look at this design. This has purely or the design have taken care of all the four aspects: the human, the environment, the problem, and then the solutions are this. Right? This is 1950s, 1960s product. Look at the aesthetic part of it. Look at the beauty of it. Look at the usability of it. Right? It's so perfectly done. And how is this possible? It's because Daitos Ram has taken care of all the four aspects or all the three aspects of it. Right? He has taken care of the environment. He has taken care of the human factor as well. He has understand human. Okay. Some of the design you can relate with some of the Apple products. Like, I'll show you that also. Boom. Right? This is 1960 and this is 1990s or something. Okay. He is Johnny Ive. He's a chief design officer of Apple, and he has publicly said that he has been inspired by Daitos Ram's designs, and hence you can see these are being correlated. You can see this design was changed into somehow iPod, right? And then we have Mac, and then the computers, a calculator, sorry. Okay, so this is the influence they have. Now, what does Daitos Ram said? You cannot understand good design. If you don't understand people, design is made for people. You cannot understand good design if you don't understand people. Design is made for people. So even he is emphasizing that designers should understand human. Okay. And then how do we understand human and the environment is by understanding about or getting knowledge about psychology, right? The bottom part here can be done by design framework, right? Like design thinking or double diamond or human-centric design, user-centric design. This can be taken care of. But to take care of this too, you need to go and start studying about psychology or learn more about psychology. Cool. Okay, so there are 10 crucial things about humans and environment every designer should know. These are 10 things which I have listed down here, which I'll take up individually and then we'll explain also as to how they are related to design. Okay, so the first one is, what do you see and what? Okay, mind it, this is psychology. Okay, psychology is very weird when you look at it from a different perspective. So when you look at it from this perspective, that whenever you're studying psychology, your brain is learning about himself. Okay, so it's so weird. So keep in mind that it is a bit of crazy when you start learning about psychology. Give it a different look whenever you're looking at it. Okay, so first is what you see and what your brain understand are two different things. So whatever you are looking at and whatever your brain are, decoding those information from the eyes are two different things. Okay, so it is highly applicable in design. Whatever you are designing, you have to think about how our eyes see things and how our brain decode things. Okay, if you see this, you can make sense. Okay, stop, war, peace, now. Okay, I'm going to show you another image. You have to blink, look at it, and then I'll show you the reason why I'm saying that what you see and what your brain understands is two different things. What do you see? The moment the second image comes in the screen, you must have read stop, peace, war, now. Right? That's how our eyes will try to decipher things so that our brain doesn't have a cognitive load. Okay? But then again, our brain is so active and said, no, something's wrong. That doesn't really make sense in the environment we live in. And then the brain will tell you, no, it should be stop, war, peace, now. Then your brain is correcting itself. Your eye said it is stop, peace, war, now. But your brain then again realized, no, it's not correct. It should be stop, war, and peace now. Okay? It's weird. But this is how we do things. Okay? Next up. We have a special part in our brain to recognize faces. So we have special part. We have a piece here, a system here in our brain, which are specially designed to recognize the faces. Okay. In this, if suppose let's take an example that you are in this crowded market, and suddenly you see somebody from your family. You will recognize him or her, even if there are hundreds or thousands of people in this crowd, because that special part of your brain always look at images, always look at faces. They are not concentrating anything else. They're just focusing on the faces. Okay. So what is the design lesson here? That when you have a design wherein you are showing human face, that gets more attention because that part of the brain gets activated and start looking at the face. Do I remember this? Do I know this face? No. Does this face telling me something? If the eye movement is there to a product, then your eyes will go to the product. So this is the design language here that we love any kind of design where there's a face. Even if you see big banners or big hoardings in your roadside, you'll see big faces there, and they are trying to grab your attention with using that big faces of popular people. Okay, so this is the second part. Third, people scan screen based on the past experience and expectation. Now this is very important for all the UI designers, and what I'm trying to make sense here is, if I have used this website first time or twice or thrice, and then if I go to some other website, I will expect the same thing to happen there. This is also known as conventions. Okay, so if I browsing a website and the navigation at the top, for example, I'm browsing this website of Quick, and the navigation is at the top part, and then we have the sign in here, and then the buy button here, and then I can scroll down, right, like this. And I'm storing those experiences in my brain. I'm storing all this expectation in my brain, and when next time I visit any website, I will look for those clues again. I will always look at the top part of the website to find the navigation, to find the login button, to find the sign up button, and I will always do a scroll down. Many a time I have seen UI designers, to make things crazy, they put the scroller left to right. Now here you are breaking the convention. You should never do this. Okay, be mindful about this, because your user will always see things based on their past experience and expectation. So they will always follow a convention. Okay, so it's very important. And there's a beautiful thing here. You can only break rules, like convention rules and everything, when you understand that rule. So you understand the rule clearly as to why users go down, what is that conventions, and then if you want to break it, then you can break it, but you have to understand it better first, and then you break it. Okay, cool. Number 4, people believe that the things that are close together belongs to the same group. Now, this has been given by one of the great school of thought of psychology called Gestalt principles. There are 10-15 principles which you can easily get in while googling also, or might be, you might have got while you are doing some courses. You have been taught that, but it is a school of thought. Gestalt principle is not just principles; it's a school of thought in psychology. Okay, it's more about how we perceive things, right? How do we see things in this environment? Gestalt principles thought studies that. Okay, so people believe that the things that are close together belongs to the same group. Okay, now look at this image very carefully. I can see a lot of things together. I can see this quote here and this text here. So I'm saying what I'm assuming or what I'm perceiving is these two are together, and hence this quotes make sense to me, right? Likewise, I can see this and I can see this 2 dots here, and then my mind is saying that they are together, and the moment I realize, okay, they are together, I can see if I click the below button here, this image will get changed. That's the perception I am making to myself, because they are together, right? I can see this are together, and I can relate this down arrow also because they are together. If I click this text will get changed, right? I can also look at this and say, okay, they are together. They are all social medias. I can also see this navigations are together. They form a single group. Okay, so this is psychology. People believe that things that are closer together belongs to same group. If you're a UI designer, you might be working on grid system, right? So when we have a similar or same group, we tend to give or the white space tends to be reduced, right? And those groups, different groups, we tend to give bigger space in between them, so that they can be related as 2 different things. They can be perceived as 2 different things. Okay, this was the 4th one. Number 5, very important. Okay, 9% of men and 0.5% of women are colorblind. I'm not saying they're totally colorblind, but they are blindness to certain color, certain shades of color. These numbers are basically for those pattern of color blindness where they have this red and green blindness. Okay, so there are 9% of men and 0.5% of women are colorblind. So whenever you're designing, you have to make your design accessible, inclusive, right? Don't just rely on the color aspects of it. Okay, you also have to make sure that this 9% of men are not spared out. You have to take care of them as well whenever you're designing, and hence it is advisable that you use icons, right, besides your like has been done in this design, that you use icon here, so that if this is being differentiated with color, I can also look at this and I can say, okay, this is different and this is different. Hence we are using icons in many places, right? If I have a problem with color, some kind of gray color, and then I will have difficulties in getting this color, right? Shades of this 2 things. Icons makes my life easier if I'm a colorblind. Okay, so think about from that perspective as well. 6, people will always make mistake. It is ingrained, or it is in fact that everyone will make mistake. What should we do as a designer? We should make our design error prone to errors, error free. Okay, always think from a perspective that, okay, user will definitely click here. What will happen after this? User will definitely close this button, or user will definitely close this modal in between filling up the form. What should we do? Right? You have to think 3-4 steps ahead of your user. And you always should make yourself clear that, okay, if user will come into this application, they will make some errors. Where are those errors? Let's find it out. And let's make our system error. Now, this error thing is very, very frustrating for a user. If you don't tackle it properly in your design, your user will get frustrated. Though they knowingly closing the button or closing the modal or everything, but they still will be frustrated. They will expect the system to take care of themselves or take care of them. Okay, so you should always design your system or your design keeping in mind that people will always make mistakes. Cool. 7, important. Okay, recognizing information is easier than recalling it. Okay, so if I ask you this question, what is the capital of France? It will take time, right? To go back to your information, find it out where France is in your brain, and then try to understand, try to relate France with Paris. Or might be you have Paris somewhere, you will try to relate. Okay, yes. So Paris, right? Okay, Paris, the capital of France, right? But if I ask you, is London the capital of England? Then you will be quick. You'll say yes. Because I'm not telling you to go back in your memory and try to find out those information. I am giving you related information. I'm just telling you London and England as well. And you can relate. Yes, they are together. So your brain will quickly make those answers. And how does we apply that in design? By giving hints, for example, by giving placeholders in your text field. When you have a text field wherein you put your email ID, you said enter your email ID, that placeholder, that you can give to the users and they can be easily put in that detail quickly. This is one of the example where recognizing, it's giving a password hint. It's like recognizing, it's telling the user to recognize the information which is related to this. Okay, we are not telling them to go back to memory again and try to recall that password. You should always have this also in your design. Okay, and then what happened most of the time, it is your user will make mistake, but they will always blame the system. They'll say the system is not super active, the system is not understanding us, and they'll get frustrated and they will just close the application. Okay, so hence we should always do this. Okay, number 8, people are usually bad at remembering things. It's a fact. It is very difficult for a human to remember things. Okay, how does we remember things? Okay, so I'll give you a glimpse about this also. So whenever you come in contact with a new information, right, something new which you never have been in contact with, first time in your life that you have come in contact with that, what will happen? Your brain will create a schema of it, right? Somewhere in the brain, you will create a schema. Say we're learning ABCD for the first time, not the alphabet, but I'm talking about a product or any kind of object. Okay, so ABCD. So your brain will create a schema called ABCD. Okay, and it will stay there for couple of days or couple of hours, might be. Okay, it will stay there. But if you don't rehearse, if that doesn't comes to your brain again, it will decay, it will go away. That's how we have been developed. This is how we have been built to delete or decay our information. So it is difficult for human, if it has not been rehearsed every now and then, to remember those things into the brain. So for example, if your customer is not logging in for multiple days, right, he might have forgot the password, he might forgot what email ID he has used to log in. There might be a lot of chances, and it is bound to happen. You should always take care of that by using something like this called forget password or forget email ID, or providing hints, which I have shown you earlier in the slide, right? So it is a fact that humans are usually bad at remembering things. So your design always should support that. Okay, 9. Okay, 9 and 10 are very crucial. It might blow up your mind. So let's get started with this. So it is people makes most of the decision unconsciously. You think that you are making a conscious decision, but your conscious decision is taken by your unconscious mind. Complicated, right? So what happened is, I'll give you an example of a product, for example. Okay, so you are interacting with a product, and it was a good experience, right? You loved it, and you close it for some day. You haven't bought, or what, you have not bought the subscription of that product. Okay, you have closed it. You have closed the application and it's there in your mobile, but you haven't used it for a longer time. It doesn't mean that your brain is not thinking. Your unconscious mind is always thinking about it. Should I buy that subscription? What benefit should it give to me? Your unconscious mind is continuously thinking about it, even if your conscious mind is not thinking. Okay, and suddenly someday you will go back to that application and you will buy the subscription. Why? Because your unconscious mind has already made a decision that you should buy that. And next time when you get interacted with the product, your conscious mind will buy it because your unconscious mind is telling your conscious mind to buy it. Okay, so every decision we make are greatly influenced by our subconscious mind. Amazing. This is psychology. Okay. It is deep if you have to understand. Okay, so the last one, it is again amazing. Okay, so first you talk, then you think. Every human being, we don't talk with our conscious mind. We never do that. We talk, then our ears hear it, then our conscious mind start to decipher it, try to understand it, and then keep the rebuttals ready if somebody counter question us on whatever we are talking about. So whatever we are talking is via our subconscious mind. So we talk and then we think. It is, you must have read this brilliant quotes, right, where people says, always think before you speak. It doesn't happen that way. You always talk and then you think. So your subconscious mind is very strong. As I said, people make lots of their decisions, from their subconscious mind. Even in your application, if you Don Norman, somebody has, given the name also. He talked about 3 levels of delightful customers. How do you delight customers? There are 3 levels, he said. I think visceral. Then there's an experience, I think. I don't remember the name now. But the third one was something related to the subconscious mind itself. Where do you store the experience? It is in the subconscious mind. So the visceral part is the beauty of the application. You will first look at the beauty of it. Okay. Then you will experience it. You will use it. If it is better, if it is good, the experience is awesome. Then it goes to your brain. It goes to your bigger storage, where the subconscious mind start working, and that will be stored in the brain. And unknowingly, even if your conscious mind doesn't like it, but your subconscious mind will tell you to start using that application. It is huge. Okay, so remember this. First you talk and then you think. This is how we have been built. Amazing. Psychology is amazing. Okay, so I am wrapping up here now. I will take up questions. Thank you so much for being with us today.